Eze Uchina. Good afternoon, sir. You're welcome
Good
to
afternoon. Thank
Cedtv.
you.
We are really happy to have you with us here.
Thank you
You're
so
welcome,
much.
sir. Okay, the unwritten chapters of divorce. What does it mean? What is it about?
Okay, when you talk about the unwritten chapters of divorce, it's more like the gray areas of divorce. Understand? Oftentimes you can start from the pre, and that's before even the marriage and other things, because something led to divorce.
Yeah.
And then we talk about what happens after divorce. Because oftentimes we talk about divorce as if it's just a one-off something, but there are repercussions, things that will happen both to the spouse,
Sure.
the parties involved, and so that's what we are talking about today. Those areas that are like clouded behind, which is the main thing. It's just like someone dying and someone comes to a burial. When you've gone home, the orientation
Yeah.
chapters of the grieving starts,
True,
and
true.
that's what we're
That's when
talking
it
about.
dawns on you that this person has
Yes,
actually gone.
yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. And about the divorce, how do you think this has evolved over the years, like particularly in today's generation? Because we know that this has not really been the way it is in previous generation as it is now. So,
Okay, I think the fact that the world is becoming a global village, we are able to communicate, interact with people from every area. So people can sell their culture, their ideas to you over the phone, over the gadgets, and social media.
true.
Yeah, so people are beginning to feel more opinionated, they can express themselves more. Yeah, so it's going to give a kind of a room for people to now decide or what they want to do with their lives. Yeah. So, and another thing is that there are groups that are coming up. People are having affiliations, like you talk about, let me not call them, but there are groups that people affiliate to, and in the group, this is what we believe.
Yeah.
And we talk about people that are woke, who believe, no, this one cannot happen. So all those things are happening, and the cultural inclusiveness and diversity is now bringing about what we are seeing. Understand what someone would have maybe in the time past endured, the person will not even try it now. They said, no,
True.
not me. Self-love is everywhere. I want to love myself.
Yeah.
And that is also helping. It's just that we have to be careful between the thin line of self-love and selfishness. And that's where we should look at often.
Wow. Wow. Thin line between self-love and selfishness. Wow. Wow. That's really, really powerful. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, the next question is a very interesting question. It says, what do you think is the biggest misconception about divorce in today's society, especially among Gen Zs?
I think for me is the feel of freedom. It's more like a delusion. People believe divorce gives you freedom. But oftentimes, like we talked about the unwritten area,
Yeah.
you find that you're not actually free. It brings you at the end of the day, you see people often they will tell that the first person they divorced, if they knew what they know now, they wouldn't have divorced him. Because when you're in marriage, everything outside looks lovely.
Like a
Someone
dream
cares
on
more
the
outside,
inside.
yes. Someone understands you more than your spouse and everything. There will always be better things outside. But it's no more friendship now. We are dwelling in the same place. And so I begin to see your fault, you see my fault. And there's nobody that is outside that when he comes in, he might be worse than the person
True.
that is there already. And so the Gen Zs feel like they want to be free. I want to be myself. And I don't. So it's as if there's a fear of commitment. And because marriage is about compromise. You can imagine two people that we are trained apart,
Yeah.
different values, different parenting, and you now come. Maybe in this home, these people shout when they have problem. In this other home, you don't shout. You give them maybe time out and
Yeah.
kineko. So when you now come together, it doesn't work well like that. And it's about compromise. Now looking at this is not serious. This is serious. So you can lose some battles and win the war, which is the important things.
Wow.
So
Sir, can you go over that again? That is really powerful.
yeah, but in a marriage, we need to learn how to lose battles because wars are bigger than battles.
Yeah.
Wars are talking about fundamental core value things that cannot be swept under the carpet.
Yeah.
The battles are things that doesn't matter. She pressed toothpaste like this and the other one. Those ones are battles. Let him win. But when it comes to maybe the way we raise our kids, you cannot say this one, let's do it right. So you don't try to relate to everything the same way. But this generation, everybody's trying to say something. Everybody has something to say.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks he knows very well. Once you go to internet and you hear that this has happened, the person is a medical doctor. He starts advising you on the medicine to take. That's just it.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. That's so true. That's so true. And in connection with this answer you just gave now, why do you think people are rushing into marriage without fully considering the commitments involved? Because you mentioned that marriage is about commitment. Yes. So why do you think, especially the younger generation, that's the Gen Zs, so what is really informing their decision of rushing into marriage without considering that this is actually a place of commitment and sacrifice?
Okay. To some extent, when some people believe we don't need to think about it, I can always go in and come out. Yeah. Formerly, we used to think nobody goes into marriage with divorce in his mind.
Yeah.
But there are people who are there, they'll tell you it's for better, for better. There's no for worse for me. So once it's the worse, I'm out. So some people have that mindset that if you know work, everybody will go their way. And then there are people who are dependent. You have issue of dependency syndromes. People, because of the way they were raised by their parents, they always want to depend on someone. And so they now are willing to look for a man or a lady who will continue where their mother stopped or where their father stopped, understand? And so they are like marrying their mother again. And they will now measure you on the yardstick of, you hear, my mother does this, but you're not marrying your mother for crying out loud. Understand? So people are now doing that. And then people who also want to feel like they belong to society, all my mates are married. Because, marriage is the only school you graduate before you start.
Wow.
They'll give you a certificate before you start studying. But every other school, you go through it, do all the failings and passing and get certificate. But here they will certify you on the first day. And then you start going through. So, and that's why it's holding people down. So they don't really understand what they are going into. You have a crush on someone. Maybe the person can help you get an appointment. You see marriages that are done without understanding the full weight of marriage. Yeah. And oftentimes, because if you want to understand marriage, you need to understand who created marriage.
Wow.
So understanding of the author of marriage gives you, it's like someone that bought a gadget and didn't read the manual. You are limited in your knowledge.
True.
But if you go back to the manual, you get what the author has in mind in creating a product. Marriage is a product of an author. So we need to understand what he has in mind when he was creating marriage. So we can do it the right way.
Wow. Which means if I'm to say, we have so many users who don't really know what the manual is speaking about, especially those who rushed in and without any knowledge about it. Wow, that's really beautiful. That's really beautiful. Thank you so much, sir. And in connection to this again, what do you think are some of the most hidden consequences of divorce that young people may not realize before getting married? Before people get married, they're only concerned about the ashebi, if it's for lady, the bridal shower night, and all the paparazzi and all this. And even the man in question is just waiting to get married and answer a Mr. or the lady a Mrs. So what are those consequences, hidden consequences that people don't get to really realize before getting married?
Okay. You said before getting married or before getting divorced? Okay. Because, I would like to refer to the Bible. Can I?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. The Bible said, if you read, it actually be Proverbs 19. It said, when a man findeth a wife, he also obtains favor from the Lord. Then Proverbs 18, then 19 now said, inheritance are from the fathers, but a good wife is from the Lord.
Yeah.
Ironically, these are the two angles of marriage, but that's not what we're talking about now. So when we talk about people going into marriage, they don't sit down and count the cost. You are going to lose yourself in marriage. Understand? Because when God started the issue of marriage, he created a man. And in the first account of creation, that Genesis 1, he said God created man, male and female created he them. But all of them were in a man.
Yeah.
So in the second account, that man was not able to find full expression And the reason why God created man was for his pleasure, to have koinonia with man. So when he now found that the moment he leaves, the man is lonely, all the animals cannot do anything, he now decided to get something out of that man. That's the female part of the man, male man. And when the man saw, said, this one is from me.
Yeah.
So when you come to marriage, you actually, like, if you talk about the kingdom, in normally secular, they said, like pose don't attract, unlike ones attract. But in the kingdom, like pose actually attracts. That's where, if I tell people, if you are a Christian with a touch of body, marry a Christian with a touch of body, it will work. If you are someone that loves the Lord, marry someone that loves the Lord, it will work. So when you want to go into marriage, you're losing yourself. You're going to compromise a lot. But what kind of compromise are you willing to do? Will it affect your core values? Will it affect your faith or your belief system?
Wow.
That's why, like Bible said, don't be entangled with unbelievers, understand? And that is it. You should be sure that you are doing it right. So that you shouldn't be compromising. It affects the core things we are looking at. So what this don't understand is that in marriage, you lose yourself. And you're not there to pray. There's no place you get award for winning your husband or your wife.
True.
So when you go there, it's compromise. I'm trying to let down and make myself, because the only person I can change is me.
Yeah.
Nobody can change his wife or husband. It's only I that can change myself. So you go there and keep on making a better person of you, who you are, so that you can always find your spouse happy and all that.
Wow. So being willing to grow and make adjustments as a person.
That's
wow. That's really beautiful. Thank you so much. And the next question says, can divorce lead to loss of trust in future relationships? How can someone rebuild their trust after going through a divorce?
Yeah, divorce does that a lot. Divorce, even normal relationships can do that. You see people comparing people. So they say, no, I know what you are trying to do. That was what Emeka did to me last time. And that's it. So because of you've experienced this, that's one of the unwritten part of these areas of divorce, chapters of divorce, that you end up comparing any man that comes in. It takes a healing process. When someone goes through divorce, there needs to be a healing process. If you look at Malachi 2, he said God hates divorce, but he didn't say God hates the divorcee. No, God does not hate the one that divorces. He hates the act of it because he knows what it does to his children. Understand? So as a person, if you go through divorce, oftentimes psychologically you will have trust issues. You have PTSDs. Understand? Something, maybe your former spouse goes out and comes back late and tell you he has flat tire, but it's a lie. This man now comes back late and tell you he has flat tire, which is true. He said, lie, that was what I saw, and I'm not ready to start it again. So you start comparing the person, and the trust issue will start. And that's oftentimes why you see people that had the first divorce are always having more than 50% rate to a divorce again. So you can see someone 3 times, 4 times or so, because they've started, it has started like that. So that's it. The trust issue will come up. There are other psychological issues that will come up there. Like inferiority complex, in the sense that you tell yourself, maybe I'm the cause of the divorce, I'm not good for anybody. It happens to people too.
Wow. So which means when they go through this series of divorce, they tend to build a wall that you can't really get through.
The person start having a commandment of thou shalt not, this word,
Wow. Really powerful. Thank you so much. This is really an interesting time. Okay, this question says, what do you think about the impact of divorce on children? How do you think it shapes their view of love, relationship, and commitment in the future? Because we know that a child coming from a home that the both parents are divorcees tend to look at life in a certain kind of way. So how does this affect them in their view of love, relationship, and commitment in the future?
Okay, from studies, you find out that some people who went through divorced home or separated homes, they tend not to be able to commit to anybody. Yeah, they'll tell you they don't want to experience what their mother or what their father experienced. Some of them, like if it's a male child, he might not like what the father is doing, and he wouldn't fight the father for the mom, but he grows up to become the father. Understand? Because at the end of the day, he's the first model he's seen. And the girl will end up going to marry someone like the father. Because the father is the first male model she's also seen. Understand it now?
Wow.
So you see someone whose father is a domestic, a wife beater, end up beating the wife, but he hated it when the father was beating the mother. So sometimes if those things we don't say to children are what they learn. So he believes that in as much as a woman can express, but you don't talk too much.
Yeah.
Too much, just give him backhand. That kind of thing can come in. Then you see children who are having self-doubt, inferiority complexes. They start bullying other children. That is inferiority complex coming out as superiority complex. They want to show I'm big, but they are inferior inside.
Yeah.
They start bullying other kids. They start seeking attention-seeking behaviors because they are not getting it at home. So they want teacher. The only time they get it when the teacher shouts at them, and they're like, "Why is this child behaving like this?" But that's the only time he gets the attention. So they keep on misbehaving and doing those things that are not right. And if you're lucky and you get someone that is willing to guide you, you might still be able to make. If not, advice should be given to society, and problem will start from there.
Wow. Which means that even though some of these children who came out from these homes that like dysfunctional backgrounds, even though they don't like what they are seeing, because they constantly see these things because they are in this environment, it shapes them even unconsciously.
Of course.
So this, wow.
For example, if you see in boarding schools, you see like public boarding schools where seniors flog their younger ones. The younger ones are crying, "Oh, these people are wicked."
Yeah.
But the moment they become senior, they're worse than the person.
Yeah,
And that's what
they do
happens.
more.
Yeah, they are modeling for you, and somehow is entering their subconscious. This is what should be. These are the rights and privileges a man should have in marriage. I don't like it on my mom, but maybe the other woman can take it.
Wow, wow, beautiful. Wow, this is really something. Wow. Okay, thank you so much, sir. This next question says, how much of a role do unrealistic expectations play in modern marriages, and how do they lead to divorce? Like,
It plays a lot of roles because when you talk about expectations, especially the unrealistic one, like some people enter marriage thinking, okay, my wife will tell you that marriage is a bed of roses. Some people say marriage is not a bed of roses. My wife said it's a bed of roses because roses have thorns. And when you line on them, they will pick you. Understand? So people think it's about, let me go and find full expression. Let me just go and be a madam. Let me go and be the husband. But when you now come in, you find out that you also need to work on yourself to get the marriage working. So when some people now are not willing to do that, the expectations will be cut short. Then there are people who believe because of what they see on social media, couples that travel every time, flying private jets, Kineko, high society wedding. I've seen ladies and that will push their husband, and I've seen men that try to impress their in-laws. They will do a very flamboyant wedding. After the wedding, they are owing. So from the onset of the marriage, because my wedding is not marriage, my wedding is where you come and see what you've done. So from the onset of the marriage, there's financial problem. So in finance, no matter how you want to say it, money is important in marriage. So if it's not there, it's a problem. Then you see people, the expectation maybe is that it's going to be lovey-dovey because we love each other, everyday kisses. Sometimes it does not give that. So those unrealistic one can make someone, and that's where what I said earlier, that some people will now divorce and later say, if I had known what I knew now, I wouldn't have done, because that's the first experience. And he's feeling like this one is not meeting up to a standard, but the next person will now show you that this one is trying.
True. Wow, that's really interesting. And I think this answer already answered the next question that says how does social media and exposure to other people's relationship affect a couple's expectation and contribute to dissatisfaction in marriage, like the example you gave about seeing couples flying abroad, sending pictures online, and most of those things sometimes might not really be the way it is, but
maybe the day the lady is wearing a shade that might be blue eye, that's black eye that she's covering, and you think she's enjoying. You say, she's wearing a Louis Vuitton sunshade. She's covering the black eye.
And the wife begins to place demand on her husband.
Understand? But the woman does not know that this other person is willing to sacrifice all these things to have peace of mind. Have a husband that does not lay hands on her. Understand? So, but this one is saying, this is paradise. I'm not living in paradise.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much. And coming to financial issues, do you believe they are a major cause of divorce? And if yes, how can couples better manage finance together before and during marriage?
Money, the Bible says money answers all things. So, and you see, Jesus did not compare God and devil. It was God and mammon. That's how powerful. Mammon is money now. So money is important. As a man, the Bible says you cannot take care of your family. I was an infidel. So both spiritually, physically and otherwise, you should be able to stand in the gap for your family. So I've seen cases where the children are out of school, there's no food to eat, a lot of things are happening, the woman is still enduring. And sometimes, a man, anybody now, what are you gonna have to easy? When the man doesn't have money, he starts reacting anyhow. So the man might start behaving somewhat out of, I don't want you to come and ask me question.
Yeah.
So most times, the woman will now say, this is not the man I married. The one I married was loving, petting, but what caused the petting is no more there. And sometimes the man now have to do menial jobs or go more out to do things. By the time he's back, he's tired. The wife also has gotten involved in doing business. So by the time she comes back, she's also tired. She will not be able to dress up for the man. And the man is like, the way you're dressing, these are always tying a pa. All this kind of understand.
Yeah.
So, but when the money is there, believe me, it helps a lot. It helps a lot. But that does not mean money can still be there. Or there are things that money can amplify. There are people money looks like a curse in their marriage. Understand? So when the man now, for example, the man comes in and the money starts coming, all of a sudden he starts seeing that the wife is not up to the standard of the person he should marry, or he wants to uplift all those things. He now starts, the problem will start happening. And so it can be a cause, it can be a problem, but most divorce actually, you can see money at the root of it, and when it's not there to spend it. And the worst is if one of the spouse is materialistic, then there's problem.
Wow. That's really a very good one. Thank you so much, sir. Now coming to the Gen Z couples, what advice would you give to them to ensure they are making the right decision before getting married? Because it seems like almost every Saturday we must see an IB online.
I have one tomorrow.
On site.
Okay, like we said earlier, it's not a thing of everybody must marry at the same time. Yeah, the era of parents telling their kids all your mates are married. The parents should learn that also to help their kids. Don't push your child. Some people are meant to marry when they're a bit advanced. That's the plan God has for them. But if you marry early, it's not bad. We thank God for you, but you should be matured. And maturity is not of age.
Yeah.
It's of the thinking process of a person. Understand? So everyone that wants to get married should be willing to compromise. You don't come and tell them, this is my stand. In that case of people who sign prenuptial, so that if the prenuptial is prepared for divorce that would come.
Wow, that's crazy.
But if you want to come in and have a component, because actually marriage is sweeter towards the end. When the kids are gone, everybody's gone. Because there are people who are married now. They don't know they are strangers because the kids are still around. So the wife is putting all the attention on the kids. The man still has friends around him. The moment the kids marry and leave or leave the house, two strangers start cohabiting. Understand? But that's why we need to be careful that even the kids should not do that. So for the Gen Zs, there are things our parents did we thought are a cake, but we should emulate them.
Sure.
Yeah. And there are things that people are doing that you see. Don't let marriage online. Please, nobody should let marriage online.
I wish I can amplify that right
Nobody
now.
should let marriage online. That's why you have a pastor, you have your parents. Your parents are the one, you have mentors, you have coaches. There are people that have good marriage. Go closer. Know what they do. Ask questions. But online, no.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And I think this other question is connected to the one you just answered. It said, how can individuals better understand what they are looking for in a partner before committing to marriage?
Okay. It depends on what you want. There's this thing that happens to Christians. Sometimes Christians believe God's choice for me contradicts my choice. For example, now let me say I like tall, fair ladies. That is my spec. You see Christians who say, God doesn't want me to pray like that. God wants me with good character, good sister. But it's not true. The way God thinks, when God created Eve, Adam did not say, are you sure? He knew it was.
It was Eve.
So God that created you knew what your spec is. And if you allow yourself, for example, I talked about Proverbs 18 and 19, where he said, he that findeth a wife and the Lord gives wife. Yeah. God gave Adam wife. Adam blamed God. God now quoted that scripture. From now you find I bless. So when Jesus died, Jesus took us back to pre-Adam time, Chebi. So he said that we now live for he that died and live for us. So our life is no more after the curse of Adam. So it means that at this point we are eligible to be given wives by God. And that's why you see someone that would say, God told me this is my wife. You see, understand? God, when it comes to marriage, God cannot look at a child walk blindly into a mistake. He will do everything within his power to stop it. It's not that the person is willing to listen. So if you want to get married, if you're a club dancer, you like clubbing, marry a clubber. If you remember, if two of you repent tomorrow, better look for your type and marry. I know why God is powerful is that if you come and package yourself and come into church to look for a good person, someone will package himself also and wait for you.
It will be a union between two packages.
So when the packages leave, you now see
Oh
the
my
real person.
goodness.
That's it.
Oh wow, 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 wow. So we get to hear things like this is not the man I married, this is not the woman I married, and all that.
But in this era of what's it called? Plastic surgery. Where your wife is beautiful or your husband is beautiful, the child is not looking like anything.
Thank you so much, sir. That was really, really educating. Okay, in your experience, sir, what are some key signs that a couple might not be ready for marriage? Like we just talked about how an individual can understand what they
Looking for.
So what are the signs? What just give us like one or two signs that might really be an indication that this person, even though this person is really mature age-wise, but this person is really not ready for marriage.
For me, number one is like I said, if the person is not willing to compromise. For example, you want to marry a guy and the guy does not have money for a big wedding, but you say, this is what I want. I want a high society wedding. If you cannot step down from your high place, then there's a problem. Red flags, that's what they call it nowadays.
Yeah.
So when the red flag, that's why when you want to get married, if you have a pastor, a mentor, and you, for example, I am a guy and I go and talk to my pastor, he's not in love, she's not in love. So he or she can see red flag easier than me. Love blinds. So, and that's why you should have people you submit yourself to that can talk to you and you will listen. Understand? So anybody that's not willing to compromise on things that don't have eternal value or that will not even make or mar the marriage, then that person is not ready to get married.
Wow.
And someone that is so full of him or herself is another issue. But for me, the key thing is you have to be ready to compromise.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is really, really educating. Yes, and this question says, what role does premarital counseling play in preparing couples for the realities of marriage, and should it be mandatory? You mentioned something about submitting yourself to an authority. So what role does this play in preparing people for marriage, and should it be mandatory?
It should be mandatory. It should be a mandatory thing because you've not been there.
True.
So you have people that have been there, and then I'm telling you, and ironically, marriage is not that they are different. They have similarities, a lot of similarities. The first years to maybe 5 years, there are things we expect you to see. After the wedding, the wahala starts coming. This is not what I expected. So I woke up and like, are you sure I don't make mistake? And then it goes to where it now starts, okay, how do we now do this? So what it does is that you are now standing on someone's shoulder to see 15 years from that's where you're going to go yet later.
Amazing.
The person has passed it. And if you have someone that is standing, like often, my person will tell you, if you want to get married, get mentors and hand over those names and their numbers to your wife, also for your wife. So your wife can have someone that the day your craze increases so much, you call the person say, okay, sit down.
Yeah.
And if your wife's increases, you call the person say, lady, sit down. It's very important in marriage. So counseling people before marriage is important. Sometimes in the premarital counseling, you find that it's not what you want. And don't be afraid to leave it. It's better to leave marriage before the marriage is done than divorce.
Wow.
There are people who knew that this marriage will not work because they told everybody, they now blindly continued. So if you find that is not it in the counseling, stop it there and tell the person, thank you
for banking with me.
Wow.
Wow. That's really beautiful. So it says true of what is said, that a broken relationship is better than a broken marriage. So, well, thank you so much. That's really beautiful. Okay. This question is really, really an interesting topic. Sorry. It says, what are some crucial conversations couples should have before marriage to ensure they are on the same page about important issues like finance, children, maybe career goals?
You've actually mentioned most of them. They need to know where they're going to. Malachi 2 said the reason why God brought marriage is for children, holy offsprings. And I was telling someone, I said, the only thing that goes to heaven from your marriage, the only product of a marriage that follows you to eternity is children. Nothing else. That's why you should invest in them. When you give birth to girls, you didn't give birth to, you gave birth to people's wife. When you give birth to boys, you didn't give birth to boys, you give birth to people's husband. And you train them thus. Understand now? Yeah. So when you want to get married, you should be sure that this person is thinking in the same line where you're going to. Even both financially. There are couples, their problem is that my wife makes money and I don't know how much he makes. You should talk about this before marriage. If you're that kind of man that wants to know how much your wife is making, let's agree before we start. And if you're that kind of man that does not care, let everybody know. So the financial, and how do we now do investment? Discuss with the woman to understand her level of, not money comes to the, let's go to Maldives and you don't have a land, you don't have anything, no investment. So you make sure that you're thinking on the same frequency when it comes to important issues. Conflict resolution, how does it resolve conflict? Is it the man or the woman that likes breaking people's head and now say, I'm sorry, it was the devil? No. Because when they break your head, the devil will also be blamed for it. So these are things you should look into. Discuss how many kids you are looking at. How do you want to space them? Understand? Will the woman work full time or part time? Understand? All those things are things you have to look into so that the family will come out well. Not tomorrow you now come and tell the woman, go start at home or be doing, and say, I want to be the bank manager. You have to consider the woman's career, consider the man's career to be sure things are balanced.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. That's really, really beautiful. And this question, particularly about the Gen Z generation, that believe that people should live together before marriage to better understand each other's habits and personality. You get to hear, how do we know we are compatible if we don't stay together and all that and all that? So what's your take on this, sir? And what's really the right thing to do?
My take is in the scripture. Marriage is holy, bed undefiled. I live by my manual. The scripture is my manual. Understand? And that is one of the reasons why marriages are breaking more often. They've tested the whole thing. There's nothing else to see. The one surprise is a part of marriage.
Yeah.
I know people say, what if you're not sexually compatible? It's a lie. One thing I found out in marriage is that if you, for example, a guy is low, that has low libido, is not interested in sex, God will give him a woman that is like him. There are women that are not crazy about this. There are guys that are not crazy about them. God will pair them together because he's the one that created you. So you don't come and say, let's go and test and then know whether it's good. No, there are products you don't test. You don't see tamper-proof medicine. Once the thing is open, don't take again. That is one of them. So you living together does not help. People can pretend for 6 months, 1 year, just to come inside.
Yeah.
And when they get in, you will not get it tough.
Yeah.
And most times you've made a notion of who the person is on a short term. The marriage is a lifetime something.
Sure.
So how long can you not pretend? How long can you endure all those things? So it's not even an option.
Yeah.
It's not an option. You have to marriage. You enter with your 2 legs and let the river carry you and go.
Wow.
That's why we fall into love. We don't stand in love, we fall.
And I think that also shows the mindset people have about themselves, people that hold that notion of living together before getting married. Because what's the testing about? You are not a product. Like, it shows that this person doesn't really have self-value. Yes, so I think it should really be worked on. If you are with us right now and you're listening to us and you have that notion, I think it's a good time to let it go. Drop it. That's not how it should be. All right, the next question says, I think you've answered the next question. It says, how important is it to have a support system of family, friends, or mentors to navigate challenges before and during marriage? You talked about having families and authorities to submit to. Yeah. So how can couples identify when they are falling into negative pattern of communication? And what are the better ways to improve communication in their relationship to prevent misunderstanding and avoid divorce?
Okay, I was speaking to a young man that wedded 2 weeks ago, yesterday or the previous. I said, create avenues that you can serve, that can serve as yardstick for checking if you're communicating well in marriage. For example, make it a law that you must kiss or peck your wife before you leave.
Oh.
Make it a law, as in, so that your wife can always demand for it. Understand? No matter how busy you are, Make it a law that you talk about your day when you come back. There are some things. So that once this one stops, I kiss my wife and my baby says, babe, you didn't kiss me and you're going out today. And I'm like, sorry. Go back and understand.
Yeah.
You just have to find a way to checkmate yourselves. And oftentimes, there is also it's important that once in a while you ask your spouse the things you are doing that he does not like or she does not like. That's once you'll be surprised at what you get. Because sometimes you think you are doing so well. The person is like, why are you going to? You're just moving. And so when it comes to communication, you can't underrate it. It's very important. So let the couples now put things in place and often make it that you are willing to listen. I think that's the most important thing, that the two people have listening ears.
Yes.
No matter how foolish you think he or she is saying, listen before you judge the person and don't hush the person down so they can express themselves the next day.
Wow. 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 So it means the more listening you are, the more access you get to information.
Yeah.
You're able to know what your partner
And when you
is
get
thinking
information,
about.
access to information, divorce will be going further away.
Wow, that's right. Thank you so much, sir. Can you discuss some healthy ways to deal with conflicts in marriage without resorting to separation or divorce?
Yeah, there are many healthy ways when it comes to marriage. Like when you talked about what they discuss, one of the things that people need to discuss is who and who do we let into our marriage. Understand? Yes, you're marrying this person. You're not marrying the family. The Bible says, wives, submit to your own. There's an OWN, their own husband. That's the only person you owe submission, your husband. And the only person the Bible says you should die for, like Jesus died for the church, is your wife.
Why?
Understand now? So aside this, you are the most important. Don't allow third parties. The third parties that are allowed are maybe the counselors and mentors, and they have boundaries too. Understand? So you don't expect your mother to come into your marriage and talk to your wife anyhow, because that is where conflict starts sometimes.
True.
So when it comes to conflict resolution, you try to, if you've discussed it between yourself, for example, and you find it's not going anywhere, those mentors you have, you call them. And when they come into the talk, because you know they are going to say the right thing.
Yeah.
They will talk to you. Your wife's mentor talks to your wife, and sometimes they have a joint mentoring, joint section, and you listen. The most important thing is that are you willing to hear? Divorce is mostly of two parties, or sometimes one party that does not want to change, does not want to listen. The ones you are willing to hear, because when it comes to table of equity, you don't come there to show me what I dropped.
Yeah.
You come there to pick what you dropped. So you dropped anger, you dropped dating the house. When we come, they don't come and tell you, my dear, you're the one that is. No, I'm sorry I kept this. I take it back. I'm sorry I kept this. I take it back. That is what you do in the table of equity. By the time you take your own attainment, the table will be empty. We start afresh.
So it never happened.
Exactly. And then be willing to forgive. If you don't have forgiveness, we don't marry. Not marry at all.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. And I like what you said about bringing in the authorities and the mentors when you see that the both couples cannot handle it anymore. It shows the importance of being able to have authorities and mentors that you trust their judgment.
Yeah.
Because if you don't trust their judgment, there is no way bringing them in is really going to solve anything. And even when they give their opinion, you don't take it. That's really beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, sir. Another question. It says, what advice would you give couples who are facing serious challenges but do not want to give up on their marriage?
If you don't want to give up your marriage, give up on your stand. Because why is happening is that someone is saying, I won't move.
Wow.
You understand? Once you are willing to move, especially if it's not like a value system problem, some things will change. Because, you know, if you notice, we are talking now, we can whisper, you hear me, because we are cool. But if we start arguing, we shout. No matter how close we are far from each other. So I have to shout to reach out to you.
Wow.
And you shout to reach out to me too. But we are still close. But when the hearts are together, it's now see couples that will just look at each other and they know what they are saying. Because their hearts are together. So when it comes to that, you have to be willing to come and say, yes, I have noticed, like what I talked about earlier. This thing you're complaining, I've noticed it actually. So, but I like it. So how do we do it? Understand? How do we do it so that maybe the person says, okay. But when you stand, no, this one must happen. I'm the man of the house. You call the man of the house, not the man of the woman. Of the house. They will leave the house for you and you be the man of the house. So we need to be able to if you want to make your marriage not ready to divorce, there's no marriage that cannot be mended if the parties are willing to listen.
Willingness.
Yes, once they are willing to yield and say, let's let go of this, that marriage will be mended.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I think the next question is connected to this about it says, how can couples work through trust issues or infidelity without immediately considering divorce? Because we see that a lot of couples have the notion that maybe other thing can happen, but if this one happen, I'm out.
You know, people say that. I often tell people, let's reverse. I tell you, whatever you want to judge, put yourself in that person's shoe. And I say, if you are here, what do you expect from that person? Definitely, I remember one case I was on. I said, if you are your wife, what do you expect her to do? He said, forgive me. I said, okay, now is you. What do you want to do? He said, it's a different case. Because we judge people by actions a lot, not by their intentions. The woman is saying it was a mistake, and the person is afraid that it will happen again. It's not a one-off something. Even if it's a one-off something, I don't want it anymore. Understand? Like that's like when in the case of marrying a virgin, when it comes up, I say, who checks the man whether he's a virgin? How do we check whether a man is a virgin? So you see a man who has been messing himself up, who has been going everywhere and now shouting on the lady. So for me, what I think we need to do in this kind of thing is the couples are not to, you have to forgive. I say if you don't forgive, forget about it. You forgive your wife. But if you feel like it can't be done, instead of you now staying there and be dealing with the man or the woman, but if you can forgive and have faith and try to believe in the person.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you so much for that answer, sir. You already mentioned something about easy exits. And this question is, do you think the prevalence of easy exit, that's before going, people already have the notion of, if this thing doesn't work, I already packed my bag and I'm leaving. So this, how do you think this do you think the prevalence of this easy exit through divorce makes it harder for people to fight for their relationships and work through difficulties? Like people are no longer willing to fight for marriage.
It does. You know, unlike before, society is changing, especially in Nigeria. Formerly, if you divorce, the society sees you somehow. But now society is metamorphosing and they are seeing this as normal. Single motherhood is no more new thing. Divorces are no more new thing. And the good part of it is that it's giving healthy relationship with them. But in the marriage, people should be able to fight for their marriage. But when you have that mind of easy exit, you don't fight for it. So even when it's not domestic violence, it's not infidelity, just minor thing, the person is saying, I can't take it. One of the highest causes of marriage divorce is now irreconcilable differences. Can't check. What is the problem? Irreconcilable differences is a cocktail of something. They can't even pinpoint anything. Understand it now?
Just know they don't want anymore.
I'm tired, I'm fed out. Sometimes now, when they now leave the man and gets another man, or leave the woman and gets another, they will now say, if I had known. In fact, there have been cases of couples who divorced and later came back again and said, after they married two different, they said, let's come and marry ourselves again. And they now marry themselves. So most times, fight for your marriage, except you find out there is no hope there. And nobody's telling you that. But don't have that mind that, because if you have that mind, you will find fault in everything the person does.
Sure. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, sir. This, okay. It says, what are some practical ways for couples to strengthen their relationship and commitment to each other over time? We've seen that marriage is a union of commitment, sacrifice, and communication, and a whole lot. So what are the practical ways couples can put in to strengthen this bond between them?
They have to do a lot of things together. Yeah, because ironically, one of the people, that causes divorce are children, if you're not careful. So if you look at some family, once or separation, still in marriage, they are together, but they are not together. Is their children. When the woman start having his own child or children, you now start pouring affection on the kids. Sometimes the mother and the children start sleeping in their room. Couples should not have different rooms. Let's start from there. As possible, don't put your child in between yourselves. Let them have their crib, let them have their room. Maybe for some months you enjoy that. Once they mature, to let them go to their side. And keep time, discuss, travel if you can. Understand? Do activities together. Let them, because the side is no more where the man goes out and bringing for the wife and relaxes. Walk into the kitchen, help her do one or two things. Those communications, small things, they matter. Don't gifts always work magic. Both sides should always get gifts. Just do something surprising for the other person. And you just have to tell yourself, this marriage must work. As far as I'm concerned. Imagine if two parties says that. Marriage must work. Understand? So make sure the communication is there. Make sure the kids don't take over from your husband or from your wife. Sometimes you see them competing now. The father is trying to outdo the mother. The mother is trying to outdo the father. So the kids will love them more.
Yeah.
No. Let them pack to their side. Because most times they marry their husbands and wives and they disappear. And leave both of you there. So make sure that the communication is there. The kids are taking their place. The in-laws don't come in to do what they want to do. And then friends have their boundaries. The two of you, no matter what it is, should always have your backs and do things together.
Wow, beautiful. So it boils down to being intentional about making the marriage work and putting in the work required. Thank you so much, sir. Now, okay, I think you've touched this question. It says, how can couples maintain a sense of passion and emotional connection long after they get married? Doing things together and all that, I think it makes sense. Okay. It says, how do you balance the desire for personal success and happiness with the need to nurture a healthy marriage? Because we've seen cases where couples, because they want to, they have goals, their personal goals. They want to grow, as the word will call it. They want to really do so much. And in doing so much, they tend to drift away from family. So how do we balance this? Even though you want to grow personally, how do you
It starts small, then grows bigger and better. It is commitment. It is sacrifices. It is friendship. Glow with Mary Donatus, Relationship and Family on Cedtv channel.